Bienvenidos al show, bienvenidos a Clocks Running. My name is Mara Gonzalez. I don't know why I did that. I think my name in English is Mara. I don't know. But I am Mara Gonzalez. I'm from Mexico and I'm here with this great character of the officials world and the social media also. And it's an honor for me to be here. And thank you for having this chat with me, Anthony.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, we have a special edition today, everybody. So I appreciate you tuning in. And Mara, thank you for being a part of this. I'm excited because I think you and me probably both have got zero sleep the last few days, drinking lots of coffee because there's so much going on. It's like 200 games in the matter of like 4 days, right? And I think you and me both probably want to watch all 200 of them, right?
Yeah, we want to watch it all and we want to be with all the information necessary so we can bring that to all the people that are watching us and that hears us. And it's been crazy actually, but I think it's has been a great experience for me to sleep during the day and trying to stay up at night. It has been all an experience.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't know if you do the same thing, but I've gotten to the point where I watch any kind of football at all, whether it's flag football, tackle in the NFL. I just zero in on the officials. I kind of have stopped watching the players altogether. Do you do the same thing?
Yeah, of course, all the reflections and all the spotlight has passed from the players to the officials, to the zebras, and I love to watch the I don't know, the movements that we have, the mechanics and the communication with the camera, with the players, with even though if it's a I don't know, a little more recreational game, it's also great to see and to watch the behavior of some officials that maybe aren't as prepared as I would love to be them to be participating in a game, because I do this in a professional way. I do this with a lot of formality, and I don't know. It has been life changing my way of watching games after I have started to officiate them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I even catch myself when I'm watching an NFL game on Sunday and I see Tyreek Hill stiff arm somebody. I'll automatically, I think, no, that's a flag guard, and that's where I go right away. So I don't even, I never officiated tackle. For me, it's always been flag football. So that's kind of my go-to when I think about calls and penalties and things like that. We talked about it last week on last week's episode. We had Omer from Israel. We had Juan from Mexico, and yes, there are language barriers, but the amazing thing about working on a crew of officials that are from all over the globe is we have these amazing nonverbal communication skills. So if we all practice and we get them down, then we can be a really good team together. So have you had the opportunity to work with officials from other countries?
Yeah, totally. What you're saying is totally right. And no, I haven't had the chance to officiate with other officials from other countries. I have had the chance to work with Alan Cotliar, which is an from Argentina. He's from Argentina, and he has been coaching officials. So it has been different because I haven't had the chance to officiate a game with him, but I have had the chance to be teached by him, but it's Spanish, you know. I hadn't
Yeah.
had the chance to officiate a game with someone who doesn't have the same language. And also my English, I think it's fine, but it's not like the best as I would want to. So I have had the opportunity to have some games where English, like, well, US players have been playing. So I had to make the process to work with Spanish and English so they can understand me and all that things that are necessary during the game. But I haven't had the chance to make it like in an official game more professional and more serious as I would want to. I would love to be in the World Cup. I see the World Cup and I see myself over there. And we will talk about this. But here in Mexico, I think I'm one of the best officials with no. I don't know how to say it in English, but I don't want to assume like presumptions. But I know my work and my capacities. So it has been challenging for me to know that I have the capacity to go over there and try to do the work, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, and I also had the opportunity to learn from Alan. I just love how animated he is. Just in discussions we had a lot of classroom work before the Continentals last year in Charlotte, and he wanted to hear how everybody signaled first down because everybody's a little different. Talking about when he throws somebody out, oh, you're out of here. He's just very animated, and I appreciated really everything he taught me. There were a lot of for me. I think the thing where I learned the most is that when I was just sitting on the sideline after I had done my game, and he would go into the huddle at halftime with the officials or after the game, and he kind of let me tag along to some of those, and just hearing his teaching moments and getting the explanations of why an official made a certain call. It's so important. I think that's so important. That's something that I try to do when I'm working tournaments and I'm working 60 games in a weekend. Even at half, at the end of the game, I try to get with the crew and say, okay, what do we do here? How can we change this? And just so we're continuing to improve and work through things, and making sure we're staying on the same page, right? Because as a crew, we gotta be on the same page. The moment players can be kind of like wolves, and if they think we're sheep and not zebras, they're gonna attack. And so yeah. So I know that you've been doing some amazing things with the World Cup in Finland. You and a few other people in Mexico. Could you just tell me what that all has looked like over the last couple of days?
Yeah, it has been great because right now we are doing coverage with media, with Narrador Tochito. He is a platform, actually. He is this crew. He has become like a bunch of people that we all watch the games from his point of view, and he's trying um, to bring all the information to Mexico or Latin America and Spanish speaking countries. All this information from the World Cup, and we're doing this coverage with different black personalities such as ex players, ex I don't know how to say selected, like selected players,
Mhm.
former Mexico's team players, and also a lot of professional referees here in Mexico, and we're doing a great job. Actually, we're having these long nights, staying up and watching games and having this analysis, or I don't know how to say it, analysis in in English, but yeah, this work of um, bringing the game to people over here in Mexico with our language, with our comments, with our knowledge, and it has been great. I just have seen a little bit of the U.S. participation, and yeah, they are well to Mexico, the team to to win too, but it's challenging. And also I think the US has some problems right now, talking about Daryl Hash, who has been the spotlight for some comments that he has been saying. And actually I stand by him. I think he has a lot of word to say about this because people in the US, I have seen a little bit of the conversation that has been made about this subject, and I think he has some point that a lot of people that only watches the NFL, only watches the football as it has been played in America, they don't get the point of how flag football is played and how it can be sometimes like a different sport. It's like this debate that we have about the rules that involves no contact and it changes the whole game.
Yeah.
So it has been making like this noise to different people, but I think it's a good noise that this subject is bring up to the table, and he is making a great job right now. He has been like uh, with some charge, I think, such as Diana Flores for us. She's an excellent player, but at being at the spotlight, it brings a lot of weight into their shoulders. So they are um, public figures, and that brings a lot more to the game. And actually, I have this page, this new project that I have told you about, just flag, that it's not just about flag, it's more than just flag. It's not about only what happens on the game, it's more, it becomes beyond the things that are made into the head, into the process for an athlete to become the athlete that they have to be. And it has been a great. I have, I don't know, a lot to say. Sorry, let me
You're
tell
doing
you when to shut up and give you the opportunity to say something, because I'm sorry, sometimes it's like a monologue. I don't know how to say it in English either.
No, that's great, and honestly, that's been a discussion. I mean, ongoing, and I think we're going to continue to talk about it over the next 4 years. As far as that goes, I brought guests on that really think that the NFL players should be able to just come in and take over. I've had guests that talk about why flag players should continue to be on the national team. I guess from my standpoint, I just look at it as maybe not what I want to happen, but what I think will happen. And I do think that the NFL players will probably take over the majority of the national team. Not for any other reason, but more of the fact that the NFL had a big part in pushing flag football forward. I know Hoosh talks about these are the players that push the game forward on the field, but I think the NFL and that brand that everybody knows pushed flag football and continued to support flag football to get into the Olympics. So they're going to kind of pull that card and say, hey, we put a lot of money into this. We put a lot of energy. We want our game to grow globally. They now have games in Mexico City and London, all over the place. Even college football now has an annual game in Ireland. I mean, it's just continuing to expand, just even in tackle football. So, plus, it's 4 years away. So, if the NFL, decides, okay, we're going to let these flag players, play here in Finland. They can go to China next year, and then after that, we're taking over. Um, I just think that the trend, as far as other sports has gone in the Olympics, reflects what, in my opinion, what'll happen. In basketball, and I'm probably a little older than you, and so I remember in 1992 when it was Michael Jordan and the Dream Team in basketball, and that was like the first time that the U.S. had professional basketball players play in the Olympics. Well, the reason they did that is because the Soviet Union beat the college basketball players in the Olympics. And so the U.S. was like, we can't have that. We're not losing to the Soviet Union. So we got to bring in our best. and they took it over, and from there, it's they basically won gold every single year. Now, in recently in the World Championship last year, the United States team didn't do very well, and LeBron James, being the star of the NBA, raised his hand and said, "I want in," and no one asked him to try out, and he went on the team, and he probably made some decisions to get other players on the team because he wanted to make sure that the United States won gold. So that is my thought that I think will happen as far as that goes. Whether or not it's what I want to happen, it's what I think will happen is that there's going to be a point over the next 4 years where whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's some college quarterback that hasn't been drafted into the NFL yet, and they're going to say, "I want on," and I know I'm a better quarterback than anyone in the world, so I'm not going to try out. So so that's what I think is going to happen as far as that goes. Oh, you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
I agree with that. It's but also I think, do you hear me well? Because I think my
yeah, you're
internet
no, you're good
also,
now.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's actually right. But the difference here is that football players have already tried like football in the Pro Bowl over I think 2023,
Yeah.
if I
Hmm.
don't remember badly incorrectly, and it didn't went as well as they thought that it would be. Like they looked clumsy, they looked awkward, because it's not, they are already like with the chip of going through the with the contact, and flag football is the opposite over there. So I think that it can be trained and it can be like adjust, but I don't know how many fans would follow through players that this is a contact sport. Like football is a contact sport, and that's kind of what gives it like this extra that brings to the show into the field. And removing that part from the game, I don't know how well would it be taken from NFL fans. It's fine for a lot of people because as it doesn't involve contact, it is a safer game. So a lot of younger players and their parents they prefer that they play flag football because it doesn't involve this uh, contact that can can put them into risk, you know. Also, flag football players have a lot of injuries, or mostly on the knees. It's really common that that happened, but it's different with a concussion and with this contact over the head mostly, right? So I don't know. I think also the NFL, their business is football. So I don't know how they are evolving into flag football, and I don't know if football will lose this strength that has been having from the past years. But the reality is that flag football have managed to become an Olympic sport, and football hasn't. So that it's also a subject to have the analysis done and to think about. But I also think that, yeah, the NFL is the main uh, pushing through this sport. So I think the NFL players may have this opportunity, but yeah, I don't know. The US will have to manage that. I'm not going to give you the answers because I want Mexico to win. So I don't know. Maybe this can be like a good thing for Mexico because, yeah, right. I don't know, the time that US has to make these decisions and these adjustments. Sorry. it's going to be the time when Mexico can be a little bit more strong about their structure. So I don't know. It would be interesting the way that this evolves, and we're going to be there following through and also adapting because we don't know how many rules are going to change to
Yeah.
become the sport more dynamic or more a show business also. And I don't know. It's going to be great to be part of this history.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you bring up a lot of good points. You talk about the safety and the difference between tackle football and flag football. But if you look at the trend of tackle football, now they have those big giant things that they wear on their heads. They've changed the rules over the last, 20 years or so that protects the quarterback so much. So that might also be something as far as a quarterback goes, like Patrick Mahomes, that he looks at, well, my career's, in 4 years, my career's coming to an end. I don't want to get hurt. So I'm going to turn myself into a flag football quarterback and I can play in the Olympics. I think that's the other thing that we're not, thinking about is how important and how much anybody would want to have the first gold medal in flag football, and so I think that whether it's ego or pride or just the self glory of it, and then the opportunity, like you said, tackle football is not in the Olympics. So for NFL players, their only shot at playing in the Olympics is to do flag football. So maybe that, to represent their country, is a big deal. That also what you brought up just as far as how different it is, with the rules, contact and non-contact. As an official in America, uh, when I work big tournaments, we only have like one format that is very close to IFAF, and all the other formats, uh, generally, and I probably am the one that argues this point a lot. We have a guest that comes on. His name's Lance. He's one of the best in the country. Something he will say a lot is let the players play. Now, that is something that I think, as far as flag football players, not tackle players, flag football players in America have to adjust to IFAF because it's not a rule book that they play that often. So they're very used to being able to make a lot more contact. They get a jump in most of the formats. There's 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 a lot of
I
things that they have to adjust to as well. So yeah, so it is very interesting. That's something that I love the IFAF rule book. But on the flip side of it, I also love we have a format called fives contact, and that is just basically ten people on the same size field and they're all hitting each other, and, and like it's mayhem but it's controlled chaos, and we just really, as officials in that format, we just make sure that guys aren't fighting. We just make sure that girls aren't pulling each other's hair. It's really, we let them play. And so I think about it like, if IFAF is so black and white and it's non-contact, and you're going to throw a flag if you see any contact at all. Whereas we have formats like that, which are contact, and it lets guys and girls just really be able to have some fun and continue to have that contact that they would if they, were tackle players. Um, I played for a lot of years. I played both non-contact and contact. I enjoyed contact because I was on the line of scrimmage, and I just loved all the action that came with that. So that was me. Um, but as far as the in Mexico, is that something that you guys are as the leagues or tournaments, now that you're starting to see American teams go over there and play? Are the directors making adjustments to rules at all, or is it pretty much like, hey, in Mexico we do IFAF?
No, no, no. Actually, I don't know why. Well, right now, Mexico is becoming more IFA because of these opportunities that brings to becoming worldwide. a worldwide player and all that stuff. But we have also like these recreational games and this part that makes flag football what we call tochito, what we call tocho bandera. It's this part that isn't as competitive as IFAF maybe, but it's more dynamic and it brings more this game part more than a competition, you know. um, we adjust as officials. We adjust to the necessities of the tournament or the league where we work. Well, most of us, like no, actually a little bit of of us, not most of us, but it's a work that is being growing and it has been becoming more serious and more important to have this view of the game, like what kind of game are we going to officiate right now. It's a game where it's more physical, it's more like when we officiate games from the US players, we give this chance to have a little bit more of contact and more of this part of let the players play. And give me just 1 second because my cell phone is about to die and I have to make some changes of I hope for sure. The thing is that we can edit this video and have a little bit more of place to make some changes. I hope
no,
that my
no,
cell my cell phone doesn't die because
this is no, this is great, and I want you to know, as far as this show goes, I like to leave it just pretty raw and uncut. I like we're all human. I think that that's a fun part of something I try to explain to players when they're yelling at me about a call I make. Sometimes I miss things, just like sometimes they drop passes or they miss the flagpole. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I, I really enjoy just being a part of this show and having guests on, and sometimes just kind of working them into saying something that maybe after the fact they're like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that," because it's good to have fun with this. I don't like to take things too serious as far as that goes, but when I'm officiating and it's on the field, I want to lock in. I want to be focused, and maybe this podcast is my way of just kind of saying, okay, let's have fun with it as well. Like I mentioned earlier, you guys are having a lot of fun commenting, uh, analyzing the games and doing the commentary of it and everything. What has been so far? What was the most exciting game that you guys commented on?
I had a few hours earlier the game between Canada and Mexico from the women's team. It was surprising because Canada started winning to the Mexican team from 3 touchdowns. So it was like shocking for a lot of us. Like, what is going on over there? Well, you have to wake up. They did, but also the people whom I had the chance to participate over this project with Narrador Tochito are these great personalities over here in Mexico. One of them is Andy Cordero, which is one of the greatest players over here in Mexico. She was part of the pre-selected team that had this process towards Finland. She didn't make the whole process, so she is not in the Mexican team, but she's a great player, and also I think she's something about communication, so she's like trying to start their journey and their career uh, and her career in in this media with this I don't know, tryouts in the communication part. And also with Sheila Silva, which is a Mexican player, which has been in the Mexican representative team from many many years. She after Charlotte, I think she stepped down and she has been focusing in other things. She's still playing, and actually she's one of the promoters of LFA, which may be like the NFL over here, league to make female flag football professional. So talking with them this game was great because we were speaking the same language, we were understanding the game, we were knowing that Mexico had to bring their best game into the field so they can change the result, and they did. Also, Canada players, my respects. They have a great system. They have these physical abilities too that was that they were making the difference over there. So it was one of the greatest games. And yeah, this part of making social media and media in general, it's this part that brings officials to the people to get to know us as human beings more than what we share on the field, right? Sometimes I'm a very serious person. Sometimes I uh, I focus too much, and I like to be like, don't disturb me, don't talk to me. I have the flag over here so I can like put it out. And but sometimes I also have this part that makes people more close to me, like when I can have these jokes and I can have this chat over during the games. It depends on the competition, on the league, on the tournament that I'm uh, having this time. But it's great. It has been great, like sharing with great people this World Cup, and it's great to know you finally over camera and have the chance to talk to you. And yeah, it's a shame that the project Narrador Tochito it's like only for Spanish speakers. But I know that with all the projects that we have in mind with Just Flag and all that stuff, we can bring English speakers to this kind of media and this space on the web so people can have this information and have this connection with us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I just want I got to remember everything you just talked about so that I can follow up. So I'm so thankful that you brought up that game. I was watching it this morning as I was getting my kids ready for school and everything. Very surprising. I even though I'm from the United States, I tend to cheer for Mexico. I want to see Mexico win. I think it's great for the sport when another team outside of the United States wins. And so, yeah, I was just as surprised as all of you were that Canada just came out. They scored. They got an interception. They scored again. Then they got a safety. I mean, they had the momentum. And I've officiated a lot of the players on that Canadian team. Some from the Mexico team as well, because sometimes they do come up for tournaments. And so it was just an exciting game to watch. It went, but once, just like you said, they made adjustments. I could tell the offense just changed things around, and from that point on they could not be stopped, and they scored and scored and scored. And once the biggest moment I think in that game was right at half. The Canada could have just knelt it out, ran the clock out, gone into half with the lead, and instead they rushed two plays, and on the second play they threw an interception, and then Mexico was able to score. And so that was a really big deal going into half with all the momentum. So it was exciting to watch. You brought up Sheila Silva, and she is a player that I've officiated a lot. The last time I think that I did, it was a tournament in Orlando, and her team just took over that tournament. It's so much fun. and it helps me. It gives me the opportunity to practice my Spanish as it relates to the football field, and so I can kind of when there's teams that are from Mexico playing in tournaments up here. It's good for me, and I'm able to practice that and try to be somewhat bilingual in that. And so so that's a lot of fun. Yeah, I just think that we lost you. So Mara, hopefully you come back on. So I just want to continue to just talk about some of these games that I've seen. I'm going to be posting clips over the next few days of highlights of what officials have done. I'm not worried. Again, like I said, I hone in on the officials and what they're doing in these IFAF games. I think this is a great opportunity for people to understand and see the international game. So I want to post clips of penalties that happen and kind of see what those penalties are. Naturally, the penalty that happens more times than not is illegal contact. That's kind of the call for everything. There's not roughing the passer; it's illegal contact. Basically everything kind of falls under illegal contact. One thing that I noticed is very different, and I kind of had forgotten about this since it's been a while since I've done officiated IFAF, is that DPI in the end zone is not a spot foul. It's not going to bring them onto the 1 yard line. It's only 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, so it's not as impactful of a penalty as what we're used to. And so I saw that a few times in some of the games that the United States was involved in. And so that's exciting. I think roughing the passer and holding and of course the one that everybody loves to talk about, impeding. Well, in IFAF it's called shielding, and I was able to pull a few clips of impeding calls that happen as well, and so that's exciting stuff. Also, okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, you're back.
We're back. We're back.
All right.
Okay.
Well, so I was just while you were gone, I was just talking about just kind of finding clips of penalties. So one thing that I had kind of forgot about with IFAF is that a DPI is only 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's sorry, what BTI?
Defensive pass interference.
D. I
Yeah.
understood B, and I was like,
Oh.
which fault is with B? Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's again defensive pass interference. Yeah, DPI. DPI. It's yeah, 10 yards, and also well for the first down that brings it's a heavy penalty. It brings yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, so here in the United States, what we're used to with our rule book, DPI, if it happens in the end zone, that brings the offense to the 1 yard line, automatic first down. So that's or if it's not in the end zone, it's 10 yards or a spot foul, and so it's even more impactful. So I kind of feel like in IFAF that gives a little bit of an advantage to the defense that if you're worried about them scoring a touchdown and it's their first play of the drive, well, you're only giving up 10 yards, so it might be worth putting a hand in there or making a little bit of contact before the pass comes in just to avoid the touchdown. So one thing also I just wanted to bring up, I know that I think you and me probably could talk about all the differences between stuff in the United States and stuff in Mexico. There's so much, and I think this is a conversation that I think we need to continue to have. We've had other officials on from Mexico, and you guys just have so much to share. There's so much insight because like I said, in America, it's kind of been the way it has as far as flag football goes. Yes, we are evolving everything, but I just think that officials from Mexico just have a new perspective, a fresh set of eyes, and so I love to talk about that. But let's zero in on just kind of how the process of officials are picked for these big international events, and how does that work in Mexico?
Yeah, well, actually, I have had this chat with a lot of officials over here in Mexico and also in Latin America. I had the opportunity to talk to some officials in Panama, and it's weird. I think that we don't understand the the way that the process is made because it's weird the way they picked us to do this job. I know they have like they're trying to make this more structured, and I understand that part. But the guy that has like um, I don't know, the main, I don't know how to say it in English, like the responsibility of uh, making better the officials in Mexico. It's the one that is always he's going to the international compromises. He's always in the big picture. Right? Maybe you know him, Uriel Espinosa, and
Uh
he's
huh.
a
Yeah.
friend of mine. And I have talked to him as a friend, and I have talked to him as I don't know, like as he's my boss, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, he's not doing the greatest work. He's doing a fine job, but it's the processes are weird. It's a lot um, of connections over here in Mexico because he gave me the chance to do this evaluation, this test. So to the the theory about the rules, like knowing the rules, and I was number 5 in Mexico over 50 selected pre-selected officials. I was number 5, but my name wasn't in the list because of some politic things that are involved. So it's weird. I don't really understand it, and I have been trying to do that, but it's hard. It's really hard. I don't know how you do it over there. I know the city Abrahams, and I don't know how you pick your officials either. I don't know if there's like a process, if there's like a credential that you have to have, or some courses, or something that you have to take so you can be like in the process to be picked.
Yeah, well, I think it's exactly the same. I don't understand how the process works either. I think that it is very similar. Desiree is the one that she kind of runs the show, just like you said with Uriel, and she is one of the officials that is over there in Finland right now. The other one, his name is Dave. I worked with him last year in Charlotte. He kind of he has the most IFAF experience, I think, because this past year he was the only official or the first official to work all three continentals. So he traveled to Ireland and worked the one there, and then he traveled to Asia and he worked the one there. So I think for that, he would kind of put himself in a position where it probably made the most sense to select him because he had worked all the continentals that led into the world championship. Now I also know that it's very much about numbers, right? It's not for example, when I work a tournament, there might be 30 officials there, and but we have so many games. Everybody's going to work a lot of games, and the only kind of selection part of it is that who ends up getting picked to be on the crew for the championship games or the playoffs, and it's really performance based. But it's the director has to think about who do I know that has experience in these, high stress environments. Um,
Right.
I've talked about this when I worked the Continentals last summer. Mentally, I was completely drained. I only worked like I don't know 3 or 4 games or something, but I I don't have any tackle experience. I do think that after the fact, having tackle experience is really important if you want to, in America, if you want to continue to advance and be recognized as one of the top officials. And that's simply because, as far as it goes with tackle, you are constantly being assessed. Your mechanics have to be, spot on. There's also a lot of work with the whether you're doing a game that's in front of a camera or even announcing it to the booth, and they're just conveying the penalties that are happening. All of that is stuff that I've had no experience in at all. So here I am. I just happen. I think I just kind of like happened to get in the last moment. I worked a tournament like 2 weeks prior to Charlotte that was in San Diego, and I guess I did a good job. And they said, "Well, you want to go to Charlotte too?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I didn't know that I was being assessed. I didn't know that I was going to, feel like my brain was, just constantly being overloaded with information. At some point I realized that like all the officials were worried about which games they were going to get when it got down to the end. Who's going to get the silver medal, or who's going to get the bronze medal game or the gold medal game. And to me, I was just happy to be there. I wasn't really I wasn't really expecting anything. I did have the opportunity to work one of the junior international games, the gold medal games, and that was a lot of fun. Um, but I think for me, I just prefer. I don't know. I just love flag football. I love the game, and so even when I'm at a tournament here in the United States, I don't need the spotlight. I don't need the shine. I just want to do what's best for my boss, and even if that means it's the recreational or it's a youth game or whatever it is. Of course, there's games that I prefer, but I just go where I'm told, really, in that sense. But I know, like, the guest that I brought up, Lance, to me, he's best of the best. I mean, you talk about you tested, fifth in your country. I feel like Lance is top five. He's got to be up there. He has so much experience in flag football. He's a high school tackle ref. He does so much, and he travels the country, and he's very passionate. He was my mentor when I first started traveling around the country as an official, and he's just taught me so much. So my hope, I guess, for me, just because I know him so well, is that he gets the opportunity down the road to be able to do one of these big tournaments that maybe can lead him into the Olympics. Now, who knows with the Olympics how many how many officials from each country will be able to go? Ultimately they want to keep it even, but two officials per country, it's going to be very hard. And what we also got to think about is if there's NFL players, why aren't NFL officials going to want to be involved? And then if that's the case, then we might see a trend of officials that live in the United States trying to get dual citizenship in other countries, and it could just be a domino effect in that.
Yeah, of course, it's curious the way that things are evolving, because it's also that it's starting this point, and this part of the sport that we all love. It's actually making the way over all this structure and all these things that had to be done to make this an Olympic game. So it's going to be a process to all of us to be adjusting constantly, because it's evolving really fast, and it's evolving towards like being the better game. So we have to be up to it, and we have to be ready to be part of it, and at the way that we can be, right. Like right now we can be at the media part, and we are specialists in flag football, right? It's like a few spaces are so much involved in flag football as we are. And I think that brings us like the power, but also there are like monsters as ESPN and Fox Sports and all that great companies. So I don't know. I think it's a journey that we are living right now, and we're becoming part of the history, and it's great because we can see a lot of things that gives us these great moments, like these connections and losing boundaries, like country boundaries, where we are chatting right now. The U.S., Mexico, Panama, we're like becoming one in into this game. And actually, in my platform, the Tocho un poco, that it's more for people in Mexico. I have this slogan that is Unidos por el flag, like united by flag. Um, and it's this thing that we are all part of the same community, the flag community, the sports community. And I think it's great the way that we are making our journey and making our part of the history. And it has been great, this conversation. And I think my cell phone is going to die because it's not charging. So I don't know if you want to like close up this conversation, and
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead and go to
absolutely.
the
And
stage of the World Cup.
yeah, and I think that that's a great saying to say Unidos por flag. That's what this is. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to officiate players from Canada and Mexico and other countries. But I kind of focus in on an organization in America called USA Flag, and they have they have the biggest and the best tournaments in my opinion. They have the most teams that arrive in January. We're going to set a Guinness World Record with 1,000 plus teams in at one tournament. And what's been the most fun for me is to be able to connect with officials from other countries, Miguel and Juan and Oscar and Olaf and a handful of others. It just it's I think that that's what's amazing. And I learned so much. I bring it back to when this past January in Tampa when we were at the World Championships, and me and Miguel were working together. And I was the ref behind the quarterback, and he was on the line of scrimmage. And his mechanic for counting down the play clock, he'd go 10, 9, 8, and I just every time that was happening, it gave me like just a smile on my face, kept me calm. We had really intense games, some of the best action and excitement, and it was good to be on a crew with him for a whole day. And so, more than anything, that is something I want to see also come from this connection is that more officials can come from other countries and be a part of USA Flag and come to the tournaments. We always have tournaments in Florida and Texas and California, and so hopefully it's able to work out. But the biggest one is Tampa in January, and hopefully you can come and be a part of that and really see all the different formats that the United States offers. But what it comes down to at the end of the day, it's flag football, and I think that with our nonverbal communication the English is not necessary, and so yeah. So thank you so much for doing this. We made it happen in between our naps and coffee breaks and everything, so that we can watch all of these games. I'm so excited because the bracket for the men's is going to start here soon, and but I just got to ask you before we go. I know that you and me are picking Mexico to win both men's and women's, but who is going to take the bronze? Who do you think will take the bronze in men's and
Okay, in women, I think maybe Canada is one of the competitors that can have the chance, or also Great Britain. They have won against Panama, and it's like a good team. Panama maybe two. It's going to be over those three teams on the women's team. And on the men's team, that's hard. I don't know because Germans were a little bit upset last day, and I don't know. Maybe Germany or um, I don't know how. I would like to think France because there's a Mexican coach over there, but I don't know how well their project is can be in that way because I think he's going to be facing Mexico if Mexico beats
Mm.
Spain and if they beats I don't know who are they going to play with, but I think they will be faced in eight quarters. I don't know eight. I don't know how to say it.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know how it's going to be over there, but it's going to be interesting the closing of this World Cup in flag football.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I know we'll continue to connect, and hopefully you can come on to our actual show with all the knuckleheads that the traviesos and the mocosos that come on my show. They, but they bring a lot of fun to it, and they're amazing officials as well. So I thank you so much for coming on the show, and your organization, Just Flag, I want to continue to support that and collaborate with that. And so, just we're both on social media, and that's where all of our content is everywhere. So whether it's Clocks Running or Just Flag, please subscribe, like, follow, and check out this episode, and please, let's continue to collaborate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meet you in person and to have the opportunity of officiating games over there. I'm working on my visa and all that stuff that has to have been made. And yeah, it's been great to have you this conversation here and all that stuff and all the people that are watching and are hearing this episode. Thank you so much. Follow us, and I'm looking forward to continue working with you, Anthony. It has been great, and hopefully soon enough in the field.
All right. All right. Have a good night.